Owen of Trog. Good Enchanter. Good Enchanter, Elliptic. Really enchanting it up there, aren't you? I don't know. We could do a poll, but... So our choices are Ash, Mac, Ured, or keep going. Poll new. I think I know how to do this. Let's see, Ash, Mac, do I want one? All right, I'll throw Wu up in there. Red. I'm gonna have to veto Gozag because that sounds like a nightmare. And I'm also, and well, that's it. This, did I do this right? There you go. Well, I threw Mac in, so I threw up a poll. I've deliberated for like the last 10 minutes. I'm going to take a really quick break and refill my drink, so if anybody wants to influence this madness, feel free to vote. And when I get back in just a minute or two, well, I guess it'll be what it'll... Oh, I forgot to mention, if you want to vote for continuing forward to finding another god, you can, but just keep in mind that there's a limited set. I didn't put that in the option, but if that is your vote, just say so in chat and I'll count it. So that's the hidden option, is to not choose any of these gods and to keep going forward. All right, I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, and we're back. Let's see if we got any results. I don't trust the chat command because I know it's like, wow. Wow, the landslide Wu victory. Really? No, I think it's instant. I don't think the world reacts when you, it, not due to, that's a passive effect. That's like an effect that happens when the that basically happens when the end of monster turn processing happens and stuff. So they can wake up in response to your direct actions, like essentially on them or something. Oh, Ash got a vote, but it's so far it's not enough. He's still 2 behind. Well, I guess that settles it then. I guess Wu won the day. I'm sure Steel Neuron, if he's out there, if he ends up watching this, he'll be happy to know that his god was more popular. For those not familiar, this is the newest trunk god, or newest trunk god. It's the newest god that's been added to the game. It still has some issues. Just the other day, Marvin PA was talking about making this god trunk only again, because it still has problems, particularly wall jump. But Wu God is the congregation of martial monks ascended to divinity after battling their way out of the afterlife. Really? That's an I wonder how that worked. How that happened. Disciples of the council are able to execute acrobatic martial maneuvers such as wall jumps, spinning attacks, and punishing lunges. They will eventually become able to request help in the form of a storm of heavenly clouds. Wall jump has some kind of bad UI issues. Pinning, actually, I really should have talked about pinning. Basically, you can get the pinning even if you miss your attack. So I think one of the future changes that might be coming for this god is to make the pin happen from Whirlwind only if you connect it, if the attack connects instead of unconditionally. But yeah, I haven't invested too much in reworking this god. It's some concerns that at least Marvin PA has had about it. I don't know if Elliptic has had a chance to play it. since the change. I probably need to sit down and think about what other issues it has too. It's basically a guaranteed one gap, and it's kind of bad gameplay, I think, is the gist of it. It's not something that I personally sat down and thought about a lot, but you can understand the criticism of it, where you move adjacent to a monster and you're guaranteed to get a one tile gap in order to escape from them, even regardless of what happens. So even if you're using a junk weapon or something like that, I don't think using a junk weapon is the main concern there, but I know that's what Marvin P. was talking about. But anyhow, that's what we're doing right now. Oh. Okay, so the first thing I get is lunge. You can see what this is the god screen, or the religion screen, I guess. And those things at the bottom show you that there's 3 sections to this. So this is the powers. This is what illustrates, using comfy ASCII glyphs, what the different martial moves are. So there are 3 of these martial moves. You basically get 120% damage if you move towards a monster in a single direction. So if you travel in any one of the 8, directions to, well, actually, I guess that's not even the right way to say it. You basically need to travel in a path along one of the 8 directions, and then that path has to take you into the monster. I'm not sure if there's directly towards is one way of saying it. But if you just imagine like a ray being drawn between you and the monster, that ray has to be in one of the 8 primary directions. It can't be. It has to be. It can't be like, you can't be adjacent to it and move up, or you can't move like from the south. You can't be you can't be off that primary direction. There's probably a better way to articulate that, but it's a little bit difficult. And then whirlwind is if you're adjacent to it, you move adjacent to it, and you do like 80% damage. And then the monster gets pinned, which means they can't move for 1 turn. So you could then move away, and the monster would be stuck, and you'll create a gap. The idea is that lunge is 120, whirlwind's 80, so if you just whirlwind and then try to lunge, if you whirlwind to pin and then try to lunge, you're not actually gaining any net damage. The only thing you're actually gaining is keeping them in their current position, I guess, because they're pinned by the whirlwind. And then you can see wall jump. You are adjacent to a wall, and you move in the direction of that wall, and you will create you'll move, I guess, 2 tiles over along the opposite direction of what you pressed. And you do a multi-hitting attack that it does like a 2-turn attack, basically. And so I have that turned off by default, so in order to use that, I have to use the ability menu, but I don't even have it accessible yet. Okay, so that was a lot of explaining and pole choosing and whatnot, but I guess we're finally ready to... I can sort of hold off on dealing with Grinder until I feel a little bit stronger, and then come back and pick up those potions. Oh, there it is. That was a lunge attack. I wasn't even intending to do that. I guess that's kind of a good thing. You basically helps you with stabs, huh? Oh, and look, there's the Kiku altar. Don't worry, Kiku darling, I still love you. Even if these guys like Wu better than they like you, you'll always be my demon waifu. Seriously, Kiku is really super good as Enchanter, and if that's going to be your first, if there's going to be like a first choice for your Enchanter god, it is, you really can't do much better than Kiku. So at least try it once. Orc Warrior. Okay. This is where 2 Kimas would be good. It is only for that particular aptitude for the penalty only applies to XL, but yeah, -1. I mean, the reason why you feel it so much is because it's not just like a few aptitudes or a bunch of aptitude. It's like almost literally every aptitude is -1, and -1 is square root of, what is it? Aptitude is, it's 2 to the aptitude over 4 as a multiplicative factor times the XP. So -1 means the 4th root of 2, which is like a number very, very close to, you know, it's a number that's it's not much less than 1.0, but it is a bit less. Okay, so yeah, it's actually 16%. Yeah, it's more than I was guessing off the top of my head. So that's, you're getting about 85%. That's, or 84%. I don't know what the number of decimal points after that is, but so you're getting 84% of the XP on all those -1 skills, and that really adds up. But no, the XP aptitude just applies to gaining level. And humans by default are +1, so the average, so-called average species is actually significantly more XP. Yep, as far as the aptitudes go, they do. Yeah, that's right. Your stats are a lot better though, so having more int is a big deal for your spells. You do have more strength, so there's some damage there. But yeah, your skills do increase slowly. Yeah, he does. He's got a halberd, so that makes him a little bit more of a complication. I'm gonna get him. Alright, that was a little bit risky to be honest, because if he had unconfused. So that's where 2 Kima would have been kind of handy. My training right now. So working on short blades 8, then we'll probably get back to some dodging. Look, another orc. Oh, wow. Okay, I was not really paying attention there. We'll take other stairs. I don't want to go right down into a smite. This is me. I'm Locke. I'm the thief. Did you know Locke was a vampire? It's true, that's in the original Final Fantasy VI story. Step into a teleport trap, I'm gonna do it! Oh, look at that play. Look at that juke. Impressive. Kill that. There we go. Wow, that lunge, I keep not... Oh, well, look at Zerg, he's making fun of my splats. I have a justification for every single one of those splats. They were all not my fault. Every single one I can explain to you exactly how wasn't my fault. I'm a dev, I don't make mistakes. I play this game perfectly. Explain Camofunk's illusion. You wouldn't believe the story of that one. You wouldn't believe the bad RNG that I got. Gamofunk's Solution was funny. That was when I had just won my first game, which was High Elf Fighter, and I won that like 15 runes. And so I asked one of my friends in CSCO. You probably don't know him. His name is Arrhythmia. He was a player on CSCO, and he's a poster on Tavern for a while, though he's not Nope knows Arrhythmia. I mean, Nope and Arrhythmia were two of my original crawl friends, along with Archaeo and a bunch of others, Araganzar. And I asked Arrhythmia, well, what's like a really difficult combo to play? And he's like, well, transmuters are hard and octopodes are hard. Octopode transmuter is probably really tough. And then I was like, okay, well, what's a really complicated god? I can double it up, and I'm going to choose something really difficult to learn. And I looked at Nemelex, and it seemed really complicated. And I hadn't really done magic at all. My high elf fighter was just, you know, he used support spells, but I basically considered that I didn't really understand the magic system very deeply. So I made an OPTM, which was a firestorming, you know, started out as a transmuter, turned into a firestormer for 15 runes and a zig. And the Shoal's death was, I had gotten that character very well underway. He was like casting Orb of Destruction and basically had the game well in hand. But on Shoals 4, after basically I had cleared the entire map, I ran into Mara, and I just got in this fight, and he made a clone, and Mara was blinking around and not cooperating, and I think I finished off Mara, but my own illusion finished me off with an Orb of Destruction, I think. And so I had to start all over. A lot of Orc Priests. And I had one more tragic. You know, actually, it wasn't Vanishing Zerg. I'm sure you remember, this was the days before killing a summoner destroyed its summon. I think you've been playing long enough to remember those times. But yeah, this was back when that was not a thing. I remember when BH made that commit, one of the top BH commits of all time. Everybody loved that commit. That was like, was that 015? Or is it 014? It was one of those, yeah, I think that commit was before we removed item destruction, I want to say. I could be wrong about that. It might have been just after, but it was definitely before 016. So I would guess it was 015, but that win was, I think, 012. Those games were played in 012. And I did eventually win it. I had one more tragic story, though, with OPTM. Even more tragic, far more tragic. Oh, was that not OPTM? Oh, no. Maybe it happened before. Yes. That was the first one. This one was much more tragic. This was in Extended. I had this game basically won. It was 15 rune Firestorming Octopode. Still worshipping Nemelex, as you can see there, which, you know, is pretty silly, but whatever. And I had finished basically all of Holy Pan after, you know, staying out of Necromutation because I didn't want to get, you know, one shot by a Pearl Dragon. This was also during the days when the Silver Star still existed, and that thing could totally just like one shot you if you stumbled into it. Although it only appeared, there was only one of them that was in the special Zin Vault. So, but I did the level basically just without Necromutation because nothing there has Torment, and if you need to eat, there's plenty of chunks and all that stuff. And then just as the level was finally ending, I decided to go back into Necromutation, but I forgot to put on my Clarity Amulet. And I was using CBOE, Crystal Ball of Energy, extensively, and I had taken off Clarity because I don't need it. There was something else better to wear when I was not in Necromutation. But you absolutely need to have Clarity if you're going to try to use the Crystal Ball, because one of the effects from the Divination's miscast is confusion. And if you're in Necromutation and you get confused, you have no way to get out of it. Because you can't untransform because that's disabled when you're confused and you can't drink potions. There actually is a way to get out of it, as I later learned, and that death taught me that trick, although that trick no longer works. But so I got back into Necromutation again, like 95% of the levels cleared. I just was like, all right, nothing can kill me at this point. I'll just put it back on because it's a lot more convenient to not have to eat food and stuff. And I put it on, I killed some angels, and then I used CBOE and I got confused, and there was like 2 angels nearby, and I tried to like zap heal wounds. No, yeah, you can, but it does the confusion fuzzing. So you aim it at yourself and it will fuzz it, and that means like only one time in 8 will it hit you. It's basically going to randomize which way it shoots, and that's exactly what I was trying to do, but I couldn't do anything. I didn't have any. The summoning evokers weren't a thing at this point. Again, this was a much older version. There are probably ways I could have survived it, to be honest, but basically the angels got me. That was probably still survivable, but I was just a lot newer to crawl, so I felt super bad after that death. I was like, I can't believe I killed that character for such a stupid reason. And I had to start all the way over. Oh, and there's one more really silly death with OPTM, actually. Which should show up here. Let's try that again. Yep, I made that mistake a couple of times in my Deep Elf run where I used it. Let's see. This should get it. I guess I'm not sure why the CI. Okay, this is the other tragic one. This is less tragic, but this is when I was still kind of learning the character a bit, so that's why it's the second. So the first time I died in Snake as OPTM, it was to our girl Agnes, and she just really caught me off guard in her fast movement, and she closed in really fast and just did incredibly high damage. And I for whatever reason, I don't know, I didn't blink or something. Maybe I'm not sure if I had my escape deck stacked or anything like that. I need to check these skills out. This is the wrong entry. So she got me real good in Snake, and I was kind of pissed because it was an XL16 character. So I had to start over. So that second one was me in Snake. Yeah, seriously, I mean, she hits you really fast. So she can have like a speed weapon or distortion or drain, and it's pretty terrifying. She's not that hard of unique, but in the right circumstance, she's pretty frightening. So she shows up again. I go back to Snake again. Some point I kill some Snake, and a door opens up, and there's Agnes again with the Lodge tongue. I don't even remember what it had, and so I saw her, and I'm immediately like, all right, now I'm going to get my revenge. You are going down. So I deal 4 Legendary Destruction. And speaking of Arrhythmia, he warned me about this. He was like, don't ever deal 4 Legendary Destruction because you can get back-to-back orb cards. And at that time, if you got... at that time when Orbs of Destructions collided with each other, they make this big explosion, and if you do 2 orb cards in a row, the first one will create, if it's high power, will create an orb on every tile around you. Like, not every tile, it's like 7. So it surrounds you with like 7 orbs that then begin to like propagate out and sort of hit some monsters, mostly miss them. But if you deal it twice in a row, it creates the first ones, and then if you deal it immediately, it will create them right on top of those, and they'll just explode, and you'll be in the center of the explosion. And that's exactly what happened. I did deal 4 Legendary Destruction, which is a ability where 4 cards get dealt right from the deck, and you have no control over it. It just deals them, and then if it's targeted, it'll let you select the target, but you have to play the card. So I got an orb card, I shot it, I chose her, and then I got immediately another orb card. So the only thing I could do was to... It didn't matter what I chose. I chose her as the destination, but they just immediately blew up. And I took like ridiculous, like the death from like exploding Orbs of Destruction 7 times in a row. So it totally obliterated me from like max HP. I think, no, it doesn't matter because no matter where you aim so that's the max, that's the total damage that I took for all the explosions that I survived up to. So from full 146 HP or something like that, I had less than 146. It did all that. And there was probably more explosions to come. But no, it didn't matter because regardless of where you target, it has to create the orbs on those squares, and it's always going to create them adjacent to you. But that got changed. Now they don't generate Now they don't, they just collide and make noise. They don't make an explosion like that anymore. So you can't die that way. Alright. Hill Mountain Dwarf was Are you talking about Mountain Dwarf? Or, I don't know that there was ever a Hill Dwarf. There was Mountain Dwarf, and that was before 0.10. That was like 0.9, wasn't it? No, Tumalu, this is the high level orb card. It creates literally 7 or 8 orbs of destruction. It doesn't create 1. For the one that only creates 1, yes, you could aim it and then you would be safe. But this was, I was like max card power because I had full piety and a bunch of Evo. So I got like the high power one, which will kill you, yeah. There are other ways that that deck could actually kill you too, but that was probably the worst way. 8 short blades, 12 stealth, yeah, that sounds good. Actually, we never trained stealth. Oh man, I forgot to train it. All right, so we'll have to do stealth for a while. Let's try it. Actually, we might want to go back and. So yeah, that's my sad OPTM stories. I think that's pretty much all. I had a lot of silly deaths with that character. I had a lot of just, learning the character and dying early on too, because it took a long time for me to learn how to stay alive as an octopode and how to play a transmuter, because they're kind of tricky. Or a battle. This could be an interesting one. Oh, got the magic map, nice. Wow, that is far away. Let's try here. Okay, let's try over here. Can't yank that. And let's see if we can't get into this vault. Am I reading this properly? No, I'm not. Oh, I have to go around that way. So, how much we can do on this vault? These weapons, you can't ever get inside. Okay, so we're probably not going to get to fully sneak up on these guys. What do they have? How much MP do we have? We'll just do keyman. There we go. That'll help us out a lot. There we go. Take some base decks. So I might be well set up to finish this one. This one is not that difficult, but I also don't think the loot is all that great. We'll have to see. Ooh, can I do any hijinks here? Interesting. Hijinks. Not sure if this is actually going to help me or what. We'll have to see, but definitely get away from these guys if I have to get away from them. Yeah. Bunch of gnolls so far. long as I don't run out of MP and get stuck back here. Don't really want to go traipsing in there. I just want to kind of get the attention of one of them. There we go.